sweetheart. Jin-woo smiled, taking Soho and gently rocking him. Dad. Soho laughed and reached out his arms for a hug. Jin-woo held his son close to his shoulder, and pointed to the two shadowy figures. What's wrong with them? Karen couldn't answer because she was trying not to laugh. Bellion spoke up before she could say anything. What do you mean we shouldn't teach the little one how to use a sword? Do you think that's right? Igris. Igris answered, just as strongly. Good grades are the most important thing, Bellion. Maurice held books for very young children, and no one knew where he got them. Jinwoo thought their argument was silly and started to walk closer. You too. When the soldiers saw Jinwoo come home, they quickly turned to him and knelt. My lord. Jinwoo frowned at the two soldiers who were trying too hard to please him. Learning to fight and study are both important, but maybe the little one should learn to walk first. Bellion and Igris quickly glanced at each other, then nodded respectfully to Jinwoo. That makes sense. You are correct, sir. Okay. Jinwoo smiled, and the baby in his arms smiled too. He, like father, like son. They looked almost exactly alike when they smiled. Seeing them happy made Han smile too. About the time the new detective So-won Lee was learning his job, Jinwoo was called to the police chief's office. It wasn't a good sign that another detective had looked at Jinwoo strangely before leaving the chief's office. Jinwoo walked to the chief's desk. You wanted to see me. The chief of police was looking out the window. People say you're still looking at cases other detectives are working on. This is exactly what Jinwoo thought would happen. That's why the other detective had given him that look. Jinwoo held back a cough. The police chief then looked at Jinwoo and smiled. Please give the other detective some space. Hunter Sung. It was Jinchul Woo, the youngest person ever to be chief of police. Jinwoo's secret work had helped Jinchul become chief by quietly helping with cases. Jinwoo smiled and gently told his boss he was wrong. I don't hunt anymore, sir. I still prefer to call you Hunter Sung. Jinchul looked at the file on his desk. Did you know the legal guardian of the woman who took her own life disappeared a few days ago? You're kidding. It's strange that all the security cameras near his house stopped working too. Wow, what a coincidence. Jinchul chuckled at Jinwoo's pretend surprise. He threw the paper into the trash can. I really trust you. Hunter Sung. Jinwoo quickly nodded to Jinchul, thankful for his complete trust. But that isn't why I asked you here. Jinchul carefully slid a note across his desk. The memo had the name and room number of the hospital written on it. I thought you should know. What is this? The association president, or just President Go, is very sick. This was the second time Jinwoo had come to President Go's hospital room. About 10 years ago, a special medicine that saved his mother's life also saved President Go's life. Now Jinwoo stood before the weak President Go, who was very ill again. President Go didn't seem surprised to see Jinwoo visiting him the second time. He gave a small nod to the young man with the hood and gently touched the mask covering his mouth. After Jinwoo carefully took the mask away, President Go spoke with difficulty. You returned. I have been looking for you for a very long time. Jinwoo looked at President Go with sadness. If you want to get better even before Jinwoo could offer help, President Go shook his head. I have lived a full life. I did what I needed to do in the 10 years you gave me. That is enough. In a previous version of events, President Go had sold his company and started the Hunters Association. Right now he was a successful businessman who led many charities. But instead of wanting to live longer, he wanted something different. I have a request, he said. Jinwoo nodded. President Go looked at him with sincere hope. You mentioned a world where we fought together, didn't you? Jinwoo nodded quietly. Is it possible, President Go asked, to show me that time? I want to understand what we were like before. There might be memories you don't want to recall. That's all right. I just want those lost memories to return. Seeing how much President Go wanted this, Jinwoo took his hand. Then memories from the past rushed into President Go's mind all at once. He cried as the memories came back to him. Jinwoo carefully removed his hood, showing his face. President Go squeezed Jinwoo's hands and cried even more when he saw who it was. Hunter Sung again. Jinwoo softly held President Go's hands as the older man had trouble breathing. President Go then looked up at the ceiling of the hospital room. I really with brave young people like you. He sounded peaceful. President Go was very happy, and as he cried, he passed away. Jinwoo's eyes filled with tears as he carefully closed the president's eyes. Then, a machine that was helping the president stopped working, showing he was gone. Beep. When the doctors quickly ran into the room, the mysterious person who had been visiting was nowhere to be seen. News about President Gun He goes. Death was shown on large screens and signs all over the street. As Jinwoo walked by, many people were upset by the news. In both worlds, President Go was well liked, and his death made them very sad. As Jinwoo watched videos of President Go when he was still alive, he said goodbye to the image on the screens. Goodbye. You were a hero who gave his life for others. Jinwoo left the crowded street and went somewhere quieter. It was autumn, and the leaves on the trees along the road had changed colors. Every time the wind blew, leaves fell to the ground. Winter was coming soon and spring would return. Jinwoo was thinking deeply as he watched the leaves fall. After a moment his phone rang. It was Hyeline. Sweetheart. As soon as Jinwoo answered, he heard a scared voice. Sweetheart. Soho. Our Soho. Had something gone wrong even with 2 guards protecting their home? Thinking something terrible had happened, Jinwoo raised his voice. What about Soho? Han sounded really surprised. He's flying. What? Soho is flying around the house. Just then, something Jinyo said a few days ago came back to Jinwoo's mind. It's strange, but I thought your son should have been running as soon as he was born. Jinwoo couldn't believe it. What do we do? Surprisingly, Jinwoo felt like laughing as he listened to his wife get upset. He decided to calm Hansen down first. It's okay. Don't worry. What? I will teach Soho how to fly well. You can fly too. Oh, had Jinwoo forgotten to tell her that? He remembered riding Kaisil the flying dragon with Heian, because he wasn't used to flying before. Jinwoo couldn't stop himself and laughed. More leaves fell from the trees with the wind. After things ended, winter and spring would come next. Everything starts and stops, and something new always begins after something else ends. No, Soho. A loud noise happened. But in Jinwoo's home winter was still a long way off. Later inside an egg, a young ant named Baru could hear the queen ant's voice, even through the thick shell. For the kingdom. For the kingdom. Make everyone afraid who tries to stop us. Baru knew she needed to become strong. He needed to be brave. This was the first job for the newly hatched Baru. The queen ant wanted to make her colony larger, and that created a scary creature. Skrulsala. The young ant soldier came out of his egg. With a loud shout. Baru looked ready to fight, and she was unlike any other ant the queen had ever seen. The queen was very proud of the ant she had created. This ant could surely win against those people with unusual abilities. The queen's eyes sparkled with excitement, but before she could tell her strongest warrior what to do, Baru, who was very hungry, did what she wanted. He grabbed the leg of one of the worker ants that had helped him come out of his egg. Did the worker ant know what was happening? Baru quickly bit off its head. Crunch, crunch. The queen was very surprised by what Baru did, but she was also a little scared of him, so she didn't try to stop him. Baru finished eating and stood before the queen. Sticky liquid from the worker ant dripped from his mouth. He wanted to scare everyone. But the thing that caused this great fear would also scare their friends. The queen noticed this and looked around at everyone. The soldiers of her kingdom were very scared. As their leaders she could feel their fear. Baru had proven she was ready. She thought this was her best work so far. Get even stronger. The queen told her, preparing for an attack on the humans' land. Become unbeatable. Baru started eating everything on the island, small creatures like worms and tiny bugs, all the way up to big fish and animals from the sea. He didn't even pause before eating other creatures when food was scarce. As he ate everything around him, he understood something important. Everyone was scared of him. It didn't matter if they were dangerous or very large. Everyone looked scared when he approached because all living things just want to survive. Over and over Baru realized he was the strongest creature around. He was at the very top of the food chain. He is a powerful hunter. Baru's head came out of the water, and he could see land in the distance. Beyond the water lay another world. My mother always warns me about the powerful people who live there. How strong are they really? I wonder if there are enemies out there so strong that even I, a very skilled hunter, need to keep practicing and getting better. Was he ready to go to them yet? Baru kept looking toward the land. Not yet, the queen said. She could read his thoughts and stopped him from being curious. He couldn't argue with her. Baru stared at the land for a moment before swimming back under the water. He would find the answers he needed eventually. For now, he would be patient, just as the queen had told him. When the people finally arrived on the island, Baru had a chance to see how strong he really was.
What were you at? But it wasn't a fight.
It was an easy hunt, just another day for Baru. He was actually bored, because the hunters seemed so frightened. Should he really fight these weak opponents? Had Baru spent all that time preparing for this? His prey smelled strongly of fear. Baru knew he was the strongest creature around. It was getting old. Then someone new showed up who wasn't scared of him at all. Baru had never felt this before, and his heart started beating fast. A person, aren't you afraid of me? Baru didn't want to hurt the person immediately, so he spoke to him. Are you the leader of people? The person asked. I can't believe an insect is talking. It was probably only the second time anyone had looked at Baru without being scared. Glitter, glitter. Baru started to feel nervous as he looked at the young master, who was staring at him with wide eyes. No matter how hard Baru tried to get away from the annoying attention, Auntie, even if he ran as fast as he could. Auntie. The young boy was always right behind him when Baru turned around. It would have been simple to leave the little boy behind, if Baru wanted to, but the problem was that he was the master's son. If the young prince got hurt while following the ant, Baru would be blamed. Auntie. Of the three leaders, Baru was chosen to help Hyen take care of Soho. Baru put Soho to sleep and then went back to her quiet place to rest. He moved into the darkness, and it stretched out all around him. Some people might be scared of a place like this, but Baru felt safe here, serving his leader. Baru was thinking hard as he walked toward where the ants lived. Why does the young master keep trying to find me? Baru didn't know the answer. Even now, people got scared when they saw him. Thinking about this, Baru decided to change direction. Would it be better to ask a person for help understanding how people think? Because his leader didn't want to turn people into shadow soldiers. There weren't many former people fighting with them. Baru knew about one soldier who used to be a person named Marshal Igris. When Baru told Igris his problem, the knight quickly had an idea. What's wrong with that? Baru was surprised. Igris explained, imagine an ant that is bigger than a person. It could walk, fly, and even talk. What was there not to enjoy for a small child? Baru had never considered that idea before. He thought about what Igris said, as he went back to where the ant army lived. The young master liked Baru because he was larger than a person and could fly and speak. But if the young master liked Baru for simple reasons, could he also easily stop liking him? Baru knew that when people grew up they sometimes lost interest in bugs. This made Baru feel sad. He was used to people being grossed out by him, but it would be really sad if the young master ever felt that way too. Baru changed direction and flew quietly. He came to a building site this time. Dwarves with beards and ant soldiers were working on a very large stone statue of their leader, just as Baru had planned. They all bowed when they saw him. The oldest dwarf in charge of the building site hurried forward to greet Baru. Grand Marshal, you have arrived. Baru looked over their work before speaking to the elder. I want to change the plan a little. Excuse me? Even though he was very scared, the older man tried to convince Baru not to undo all their work. The plan was to finish the statue of the king to celebrate his 32nd birthday. And no, I'm not getting rid of it. The older man nodded slowly as he listened to Baru explain. Yes, that could definitely work. I think it will be even better. Marshal Baru. He is. Great. They both smiled at each other with excitement. Then let's start. Baru put a finger to his lips and stopped him from continuing. I'll be back after I finish something important. Are we really going to do this, sir? Come on, are you changing your mind? No, sir. The man looked sternly at the person sitting in the front seat of the car and then looked at the house again. The house was 2 stories tall and far away from everything else. Like the person who lived there didn't want to be around others. It belonged to Detective Jin Woo-sung. The men checked the address several times to make sure they had the right place. Jin Woo-sung destroyed our group, they said. It was time to get even. Someone had hurt him, and he wanted to do the same thing back. Didn't he? That's right, sir. The 3 men replied together. Good. We are a group of 4 thieves. Someone killed his wife and child, and they were also thieves. Do you understand? Yes, sir. The leader had an evil smile on his face. The house was very large, but it didn't have an alarm or any security. It was almost like someone was being asked to come in and take things. These people were fortunate. No one had robbed them before now. Stay calm and do everything right. The other men nodded in agreement. Let's go. They checked their equipment several times. The 4 men carefully stepped out of the car and walked toward the house, then quickly climbed over the wall. They had practiced climbing the wall many times, so they did it easily. Suddenly, only 4 people landed on the ground. What happened to the other 2? The boss looked at his helper, who shook his head. 4 people climbed the wall, but only 2 made it to the other side. How could that be happening? The leader quickly turned around, and then looked back to see his 3rd helper had also disappeared. Those silly people. Very angry, the leader almost shouted, but then a hand covered his mouth. Quiet. The young master had just fallen asleep. He really needed his nap, and didn't want anyone to bother him. Baru was glad she could still hear the young boy sleeping. She looked at the person standing there. The boy made small noises, like he was trying to speak. Baru recognized that look. She knew what it meant. People who felt scared often looked the same way when something dangerous was near. Baru was happy the master and his father trusted him, and he enjoyed this task too. He chuckled and liked seeing the man scared as he pulled him along. The man's shout stopped quickly. What do you think? The older man asked, showing Baru a statue of the ruler. The statue of their leader was very tall. You had to look way up to see the top of it. All the dwarves with beards and the ant soldiers were called together to finish the statue quickly. Baru smiled when he looked at the statue, pleased with the change he had asked for. As you wished, on his left shoulder. The young leader was sitting on their leader's left shoulder. The father and son worked together. Their king would probably be very happy to see this large and beautiful statue. It would be a wonderful gift to give the young prince if he ever came to visit this place. Baru laughed because she knew it was a good thing. But he, the dwarves with beards and the ant soldiers all laughed with him. Ha ha ha, yeah? A little child's happy shout stopped the laughter. Baru was surprised and turned around. There stood a small child, Auntie. As people say, children often act like their parents. Soho was able to find peace and rest. Marshal Baru, who was helping to raise the child, sighed deeply. Scruh. Hello, Mrs. Chant. Oh, hello. Hamadin carefully went into the kindergarten director's office. She and Jinwoo had been concerned because Soho, even though he was 5 years old, had never played with children his own age. A week after Haim began working at a preschool close to her house, she received a message asking her to come to the office. She was concerned something might have happened to Soho, or that Soho had misbehaved. The school director led Haim into the office. The 2 women sat facing each other. Hyen looked sad like a dark cloud on a rainy day. The director, a woman a bit older, knew how Hyen was feeling. She tried to speak very kindly to help Hyen feel better. You don't need to worry. We just wanted to ask you some questions. Oh, okay. Hyen, who didn't show much emotion, nodded as the director slid a sketchbook toward her. Here, could you please look at these drawings? As Hyen took the sketchbook, the director kept talking. So, who made this drawing? It showed a cute little ant. Horn had wondered why the director was showing it to her. She didn't understand what it meant. Is something wrong with the drawing? The director paused for a moment, then spoke with a small sigh. Soho's teacher asked the class to draw a friend. Oh. Hazio looked again and noticed the ant was standing on 2 legs. She realized this wasn't just any ant, it was Marshal Baru. There are more drawings on the next page. The teacher wondered if Soho had any other friends. Kine flipped the page. She saw a drawing of a dark figure that looked like a person with red hair. The figure was holding what looked like a sword. It was Igris. Kine touched her forehead when she understood who was in the picture. Igris seemed like a good and honest knight to people who knew him. But what about those who didn't? Hyun felt a headache starting. Then came pictures of Bellion with his sword getting longer and Fang using magic. Her headache got worse with each picture. Hyun looked at the pictures quietly and the director thought she looked upset and became worried. Next is how Soho drew his family. Hyun turned the page. There were many dark shapes standing behind 2 people who Ha-sin thought were her husband and herself. Soho had grown up with these shadow soldiers and thought of them as family. This is how Soho saw them. Asin felt touched, and her nose tickled as she looked at Soho's kind description of the shadow soldiers. Soho's teachers were puzzled by his drawings, and worried if something was bothering him. The director felt the same way, so she asked Hain to meet with her. The director looked concerned as she continued speaking. The final picture is about home. That's why I asked you to come here. What had he drawn this time? Hain's worried as she looked at the last page. It showed a small simple house, but the ground around the house was completely black.